do.
They cost little to no money to put together.
Oh yeah.
And everybody's paying $50 freaking dollars. And you get 300-400 people. You're making a ton of money.
300 or 400. They probably get way more than that.
Well, I'm just saying they're a freaking scam.
Don't
every
be
last
jealous that you haven't thought of it first.
I thought of it.
You know, if I had a time machine,
I
like
thought
that
of a
bitch did
jizz run
earlier,
where the
I
girls
would've
come and
started
give
this.
me a handy, and then
no, I would just go back and invest in Apple or Google or something like that, and not worry about the rest of it.
But the mud runs are huge nowadays. You know, Caleb, you talked about the beer run. That is something I actually wanted to do, where everyone dresses in costumes. It's in St. Pete. It's a mile run.
Yeah, it's only a mile long.
You have to
chug
stop.
a beer halfway through.
Well,
or
no,
every
it's
quarter
more than
mile.
that. You
Every
stop
quarter
every
mile.
so often to chug a beer. I like that one, but
Well,
apparently,
one thing I do want to say about runs in general. You know, I did the Bolt run a couple years ago. It was a 5K, no big deal.
ate some nachos ahead of time.
Yeah, right.
There's some runs for you.
that'll give you the runs.
One thing a lot of people that don't run don't realize is that they're just beer events. Literally, you run, and most marathons, a lot of times you'll see people drinking towards the end of the marathon. They'll take what looks like a glass of water and chug it real quick and keep running. A lot of times it's actually beer because the beer is full of carbs and nutrients. It's better than Gatorade, for example, when you're running to fuel your body those last couple miles. And even these, I did that, like I said, that Bolt run or whatever, 5K run. We got back, it was sponsored by one of the beer distributors. There were beer everywhere, and it was free, and it was just, so you could literally walk a block and turn around and come back if you wanted to, and just sit around and drink the whole afternoon.
That's why I do. I mean, that's why I drink the beers, because I'm always dehydrated all the time. But it's kind of a vicious circle
that running
because the beer
That
is
is
what
correct.
the beer is what makes me constantly dehydrated. So then I have to.
You gotta drink more. Yeah, it's
Sounds,
vicious cycle.
But anyway,
Vicious.
the mud run. So this woman, Brittany Williams, she tells CBS Dallas that the mud run caused her affliction. Now, apparently during this mud run, her eyes started hurting. She felt like she had gotten some mud or some debris in there, and when she opened her eye, it was just completely white. She said the whole room was white. She said that she described the experience as something out of a horror movie, and she actually said it completely melted off her eye. Well,
It melted?
she contracted flesh-eating bacteria
Oh, no.
from mud that splashed in her eye during the mud run. They said that she could regain vision if she undergoes surgery, but here's the rub. She no longer has health insurance, so doctors are now turning her away.
Wow.
You know what? All you got to do is go online and say, hey, I lost my sight because of one of these stupid runs. And there's going to be a doctor who's actually nice, who's going to come online and say, hey, you know what? We're going to take good care of you.
You'd think there's got to be some kind of lawsuit going on here.
Yeah, well,
But then they probably sign a waiver.
We
right?
talked about this the
They
other day
do.
about
They do
signing
sign a waiver.
waivers, but waivers are not 100%.
Fallible.
Ironclad. Yeah, you can get through it, and then there's things, you sign a waiver, but your waiver is if I get injured doing something,
On my own.
yeah,
to
or something,
my own device.
Yes,
Yeah.
but if you get injured doing something that was negligent on the part of the run, now what I would find to be a probable issue here is who's at fault?
Did
Who
she
is-
contract it before, or did she contract
No,
it after?
that's a great point too. But, no,
that's what
I-
lawyers would say.
No, what they're going to say though is who's at fault? Is it at fault of the organizer or the promotion company, or is it at fault of the property owner? Because most of those places don't. They lease land out. They'll find somebody that allows them to use their land for a couple for the day or whatever, and they'll make everybody sign a waiver. And I've seen this come down in insurance cases as well as the property owner A lets promotion company B use their property for a fee and signing waivers and stuff like that. And what it comes down to is who's really negligent. If they're using farm property, which most of these mud runs do, they're on farms. There's a good chance there is a lot of fecal matter from various farm animals and things like that.
You get runoff, water
Oh yeah,
transfer.
and who's to blame? Is it the promotion company? Now you signed your waiver with the promotion company. You didn't
Right.
sign your waiver with the property owner. And the thing that's going to cause a problem here. And I wish we had the great C. Nelly on the phone at being an insurance adjuster. He could probably shed some light into this. And it really comes down to who really is the owner of the fault of that. Was there negligence involved? Should that water have been tested beforehand?
Can we call out on Skype? We'll just call Nelly right now. So
I can
Nelly,
text him, see if he can call in.
Text him. Tell him to call in. We need to get this straightened out.
Well, I've got some good news for you guys.
Oh.
If you do engage in a mud run,
Yeah.
and you do somehow contract flesh-eating bacteria that does effectually make one of your eyes blind, well, don't be sad, because in Iowa, you can still get a gun permit. Yes, the state of Iowa is now granting gun permits to those that are legally blind and completely blind.
Are you
completely blind?
now? Hold on. Are these concealed carry permits, or are they? You know, some places require you to have a permit to own a gun, and other places require only permits to conceal carry.
Now, it doesn't actually say whether it's a concealed weapon permit or not. It just says that you can have a gun permit.
Because that would make a difference. And personally, I am a gun advocate. I am a gun fan. I have quite a few firearms, and I
actually,
enjoy
you know what? It does say. It does say. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it does say Iowa is granting permits to acquire or carry guns in public.
Okay, that's
For people that are completely blind.
That's an issue. I don't have a problem with people in their own home owning a gun to protect themselves, especially blind people. They can be victims quite frequently. Now, I do have slight an issue of people being blind people that don't have the senses to responsibly carry a weapon in public. I don't agree with that. I don't think they should have that right. I mean, and you go back to, do they have that right or not? And that's questionable there. But I do think that the issue there, God, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm a little torn on that. I think they they should have the same rights as everyone else, as the Supreme Court dictated today. Everybody should have the same rights, and that's fine. But that's a huge safety issue for somebody that can't have full awareness to be able to carry a weapon like that.
You know, Caleb, as your Jewish friend and the Jewish friend of the radio show, I actually encourage the fact that Iowa does permit blind people to have a gun permit, because this is a hell of a way to get rid of the ex-wife.
Oops!
If your name is Oscar Pistorius, I'm just saying.
Well, he's not blind; he just has no legs.
Yeah.
But
Oh, my
yes.
bad. I get confused there. Sounded like an excuse if he was blind.
You know, in a day and age when blind people can now have gun permits, clearly the world is going to hell or going to shit. In which case, this is actually something that the Pope has been quoted as saying. Pope Francis, who was supposed to be the light of optimism with the Vatican.
He's been doing pretty damn good.
With the Catholic Church, but he did actually say on Twitter, he's quoted as saying, "The earth,
Twitter.
our home, is beginning to look more and more like an immense pile of filth." Now, in Europe, oftentimes filth and shit are interchangeable words, so be warned, everyone. Be warned, all you heathens, all you craniacs. The world, in fact, according to Pope Francis, is going to shit.
Maybe he meant Facebook.
He was on Twitter, so...
Well,
Well, I saw an article recently that he said that gun owners are basically acting in sin and are a big problem in this world, and
don't the Swiss Guard have guns?
I have a huge problem with that. When you talk about a religion that is just completely covered in its past of violence
And murder.
and
but
things
don't-
like that.
Doesn't the Vatican have a huge arsenal in its basement?
Yeah.
Like what the hell does
Yeah.
that even mean? They have a huge arsenal.
This goes back to the old sentiment that most organized religions are nothing but hypocrites, and we can get on a gun battle all we want, and whether they're right or wrong, and
Yeah, but
everybody has their own
It's
opinion.
a right. It's a right as an American to own a gun.
It is.
And
it
it
is.
has been since the beginning of frickin' this country starting.
It is, and you're absolutely right about that. But again, not to go too far down that political path on that, but reality speaking, and it goes back to the great all the memes you're seeing on Facebook now. And I saw a great meme today. It said, when an airplane drops a bomb, they blame the bomber. When I can't remember all of them.
Have you ever read the diary of the guy who dropped the bomb on Hiroshima?
I don't want to. I can't imagine
it's
that.
crazy. The
But
guy from the
but
Enola Gay.
The whole principle behind this meme was everything in effect we blame the individual for causing the action, except when it comes to these shootings, we blame the gun.
We blame the gun, and then we blame the psychiatrist who should have seen it coming.
Yeah,
and it's
there's so many things. And like I said, let's not go down this political wormhole. We definitely could. I think we have enough of us here that have opinion. We all have very strong opinions one way or the other. But I think the biggest problem is when you have somebody like the Pope coming out, and kudos to him if he's truly trying to change things, and he has done a lot of great things in changing things and recognizing things that previous popes and just as an overall Christian religion stereotypically would not approve of. He's kind of come out and said, hey, we're all one people. Let's be who we are. But to come out with things like that, I think it's a little hypocritical. It's a lot hypocritical, and it's
well, he's almost got his funnel. He funnels into a certain crowd, right? He's got the believers that he needs to. Sometimes he really needs to throw that hook back out and pull them back in. And I think that's where he's going with that.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the problem with that is as intelligent people as we are, and we see it in politics in our own country today, is you see through the bullshit.
I agree.
If you're out there, there's one thing to extend an olive branch. There's another thing to throw a cast net of.
That's what he's doing. That's really what he's doing.
He's just throwing a cast net out there and trying to basically appeal to everybody he can. And
he's been one of the most progressive popes to date.
And that's awesome.
And I value that a lot.
Yeah. But to go out as far as some of the things that he has said and with this situation and also with the situation about guns and things like that, there's one thing to extend an olive branch and to say let's be better people. There's another thing to be a complete freaking hypocrite.
Yeah.
And to just call people out for things. Last I checked, he
has a mercenary squad guarding the Vatican City.
Yeah.
He's got an arsenal of weapons underneath Vatican City. He's made a lot of great points, and he's been like, oh, we got a caller calling in. So let's cut this off here because we could go on all day.
We could.
Let's see who's calling.
Yeah,
here.
take it up.
Sancho? Thank you for calling the Cradle Mission Show.
Wait, it sounds like this might be the great Chris Nelson.
It is.
Hey, Chris Nelson, I got a quick question for you. How long did you spend on Mars?
Spend on where?
How long were you on Mars?
110 years.
No, you're supposed to say 2 weeks, but that's a total recall question. Anyway, it's the great Chris Nelson with the retard strength. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Calling you from Bloomington, Indiana.
Indiana?
Now, Chris, it is a pleasure to have you on the Cradle Mission Show. I have to ask you, given certain state laws, is it legal for you to completely split a beer in half on your forehead in Indiana?
I doubt it, but I am going to attempt it again.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
I can pop the bottom off a bottle with my bare hand.
Ooh. Hey, Chris, I have a question for you there. Are you next to Papa Shine?
No, actually, he's in the other room.
Go get him.
I don't think I really want to go do that.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Why's that?
We've been at the Elks Club a little too long.
Oh, I want to talk to him.
So you guys have been getting your drink on now. Did you do a demonstration of your forehead's physical prowess for Papa Shine?
No, but I think at this wedding I'm going to tomorrow, I'm definitely going to try it 2 or 3 times.
Now you sound rather breathy. Have you been eating some pizza or something crazy like that?
No.
Okay, just making sure. Because Rob Ford gets very breathy when he calls in.
Listen, Biggie, when you have the sheer physical magnitude, when you have the might of a man like Chris Nelson, it does take quite a bit of oxygen to fuel that incredible, phenomenal strength.
All right.
It does. He breathes like nobody's business. It's crazy. No, Chris, actually, I asked you to call in. We have a question here. We were talking about one of these mud runs that you see everywhere. A woman that participated in one of these mud runs contracted a flesh-eating bacteria in her eye from the mud.
And pretty much went blind, and she doesn't have insurance, so blah, blah, blah.
So the question I have is somebody with some a little bit of knowledge as you have is, where does the liability lie?
I don't know that there would be a liability. Just because you have an incident doesn't mean somebody has to be at fault. I mean, I know we live in a society where somebody has to be blamed for everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think in this scenario you would have it.
So you think it's
Unforeseen event.
just a